And so I think we can start. Stream is also working. So let's start. So Dr. Dar, we cannot hear. No.
Oh dear.
Yeah, now we can hear.
Okay. So now you can hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay. So good morning from California, and I know it's good evening for all of you. I'm Dr. Ashwani. I'm the president of Avenida. So good to have all of you. Today it's a very, very special session because Dr. Jazer is going to address you and introduce you to a new concept. So I wanted to take a few seconds to kind of set the stage for all of this. For all of you who are pursuing to be professionals in the pharma world, one of the things is that you get education from wherever you are studying, but there are always opportunities to know a little more. And why I wanted to kind of address all of you before we get started was that to give you the genesis of how this session came about. So Jazer has been involved in a lot of things than what usual opportunities are. So I think he's blessed that way. And he noticed that there are things which a person who is pursuing PharmD would benefit from. And there is not much awareness. And I always don't look at things that there's a gap. I look at it that there's an opportunity to know a little more. And that is the attitude Jazer has, that how can I spread this to the other people or let other people know that if I were in this spot, if somebody else would have the opportunity to share what they are learning, that what's required, what are other things that you could know. So that is the attitude Jazer has always had, and I've known him for, I met him in India many times. And we said, okay, how could we go and do this? And Jazer said, why don't we introduce the concept too? And I want all of you to have this attitude that when you come across things which you think could be beneficial for others, as we say, raise your hand and say, why don't we go ahead and share? And Avenida is a forum where we will always be there to help the students. Or let's call all of you professionals who are in whichever year of your PharmD or have just completed your PharmD and are working even. So there's an opportunity for all of us to learn something more to become a better professional. So without much ado, I will hand it off to Jazer. And I think I should, before I do that, apologize for the technical kind of jumping from one platform to another. So Jazer, welcome. And I really want to thank you on behalf of all of us here to share what you learned and you want to talk about it with your people. So Dr. Karthik, do you want to say a word or you want to hand it off?
Dr. Dar, let Jazer start. Later I will talk. So I think we will.
So Jazer, welcome. And the floor is yours.
So thank you so much, Dr. Dharsar, for this beautiful introduction. Actually, many of you might not know me, but this introduction has just given me some new confidence to speak about right now. So regarding NABH, so we'll just discuss what is NABH first and why did I think that there is a big gap in this. Right? NABH is National Accreditation of Board of Hospitals. So whatever we do, we look out for quality in it. So be it any work, like if you're a pharmaceutical industrial background, if you're in a hospital setting, the most important things that patients see is two things. One is they see how is the quality of the care that is given to the patients. And the next thing that they see is the finances part, right? That is the two most important thing that is seen in a hospital setting. So, and PharmD as a concept was introduced recently. It was introduced in 2008, and many hospitals were not aware about a clinical pharmacist role in the hospital. So it was NABH who had, given the guidelines also of how what all quality works that a clinical pharmacist has to carry out in a hospital setting. So, they have mandated a clinical pharmacist role in the hospital. So, they have kept it compulsory for an hospital to have a clinical pharmacist, be it MPharm clinical, MPharm Masters in Pharmacology, or clinical practice, or a PharmD, Doctor of Pharmacy, to handle the medication order use concept. Okay. So this is how how the medication usage happens in the hospital, and how the safety of the medication use is there in the hospital. So those happen under a regulated forum. Okay. And this was introduced by NABH. So they have mandated the role of the clinical pharmacist in this. Okay. And what I feel is, like, in our PharmD forum, that is the educational forum that we have exposure to almost everything. Like, it's we have pharmacology, pharmacotherapeutics, we have TDM is there, therapeutic drug monitoring is there. But I felt that when I joined as a fresher in the hospital, the major lag that I saw was, I wasn't aware about NABH principles. I wasn't aware about the policies that is there in those chapters. Okay. So that part is what, made me left behind, because I felt like after reading pharmacology and pharmacotherapeutics, I felt that yes, I'm good in this part, but why am I lagging behind that part? So that made me worry about it. And that I saw because many of my juniors who had also joined as clinical pharmacists, so many of them, they saw, NABH certification as an add-on whenever they were trying to hire a PharmD or Doctor of Pharmacy graduate for clinical pharmacist role. They saw NABH knowledge as an add-on, and they wanted them for the job role. So, when I saw this, I felt really bad, because we know we concentrated on the theoretical part of pharmacology, therapeutics, patient related aspects, but we were left behind on this part. So I tried to learn about it. I just went through the NABH book in depth in learning. So when I went through it, I felt that there is a big gap between the theoretical aspect of it and what we practice in the hospital setting. So let's discuss why NABH is required in hospital, right? This question might have popped up in your mind. So NABH is, whenever you as a patient, if consider you are a patient and if you want to go to a hospital, the most important thing that you will look out in the hospital is again the quality of the care that is given, right? So in order to find out the quality of the care that is given to the patient, you check out whether it is accredited by that authorities. So NABH is such sole accrediting authority that accreditates hospital for the quality of the work that are they doing. Okay. And the now you might ask, what is the benefit for the hospital in this, right? Because you might be thinking, we are in a corporate world, right? So there should be some benefit for the hospital too, also to have NABH accreditation. So whenever a patient is admitted, okay, so the amount that is reimbursed for the insurance patient, NABH accredited hospitals get more amount when compared to the non-NABH accredited people. So there is also financial benefit to the hospital authorities, along with the the quality care that is given to the patient. So this part also attracts the hospital authorities to have NABH accreditation. And in order to have an NABH accreditation, it again becomes, a role of clinical pharmacist becomes extremely important, right? So I felt that when I joined, I was unaware about any concept. and that problem I experienced. So I just tried to visit the quality head. I tried to understand what was there in it. But again, as I say, it is, how you teach yourself. It's the best way how you do it. Okay. So I tried to learn the theoretical aspects. Again, I was lacking the practical aspects in it. So there was an NABH inspection that was going to happen in our hospital. So I can recall it. It was quite a gruesome journey, I can say, because working for 8 to 9, morning 8 to 9 in the evening, trying to complete the documentation work, the paperwork, the stewardship files, and also it was quite a lengthy journey that I can say. So before the NABH started, I was quite worried because I was new and I had no one who had guided me regarding what they might ask me. There is a small, questionnaire also that an NABH investigator does to you as a clinical pharmacist, and you should be able to answer those. It might be either in pharmacological aspect, it might be either in the pharmacotherapeutical aspect, right? So I was kind of worried, and I basically concentrated more on oncology and therapeutics again before the NABH session. So the day of NABH came, and I was able. It is actually a 3-day, timetable where they visit the various departments of hospital, and next is the medication order thing. So that is handled by us. Okay, it will be handled by us, handled by the pharmacotherapeutic committee that handles the usage of the drug, ADRs of the drug, any drug errors that happens, the any changes in the drug usage in the hospital, any drug recalls that happen. So all this comes under the mom chapter, right? So what happened is he was able to communicate with me, and fortunately or unfortunately, the interaction went for an hour. So he wanted my job role, what I did. I was able to share the work that I had been doing. I was able to share the stewardship program that I've been able to do in the hospital. So he did ask me 2 or 3 pharmacological related questions. He did ask me the therapeutic related questions. And then he asked me to share the biggest, medication error that you were able to revert. So it was using a concept of NABH principle in the mom chapter that I was able to revert. And on hearing that, he was extremely happy. So that made him realize the importance of the clinical pharmacist in the hospital, and that made sure that our role is established in the hospital. So I can say on that, even the hospital staff were not aware about my roles and responsibilities in the hospital. They weren't aware about it. But I can say after NABH in the ending session, so the main assessor, it was a pediatrician from Ames Hospital and also Reliance Hospital. So he approximately, if I can recollect, it was half an hour speech that he gave on me. And he was able to showcase what a clinical pharmacist and what I have been doing in the hospital. So the hospital staff came to know after this NABH session that what our role was. So you can say this an unfortunate or fortunate event that happened, but they were able to identify my roles and responsibilities more clearly after that. Okay, so I was able to penetrate into most of the works more easily after that. Rather, when compared to the before NABH, how my work was going on. So seeing that, what happened was the hospital realized that how important it is. And actually, I don't want to mention the name of my hospital. My hospital has other branches too. So in Hyderabad only we had another branch. So I was also given the responsibility to carry out the NABH invigilation in that branch. And our hospital is actually a pan-India franchise. So recently in Chennai, there is a parent organization of our hospital, and there is where NABH was going on, and I was able to travel from hospital funded to Chennai, and there I was able to just monitor, not conduct NABH. I would be, visiting Chennai again in September, I think. Yeah, September we would be having NABH session. So I just went for a visit, checkup visit on how the things are and are they in place or not. So this is what, guys. You will know about more NABH in detail. Hopefully, if you're available in second, third, and fourth. So there you would be understanding the deeper concepts of the role of the clinical pharmacist in quality healthcare also, right? So you will be able to find out our role in hospital infection control, and also in the MOM chapter where medication management has to be done by us, be it pharmaceutical or pharmacological care, be it storage of the drug, because this would be also important for the hospital pharmacists that would be working in the pharmacy or NABH accredited hospital pharmacies. So they would also have a deeper insights of how an investigation is carried out by NABH invigilators, right? So this was a small that thing that I wanted to share with you all. I hope I was brief enough in this. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so thanks, Zuzair. So I have few things to share. So as all of you know, healthcare is running in India since so many years. But in 2008, PharmD was introduced. So even before introduction of PharmD in India, still healthcare was happening. Yes or no? Do you agree with me? So healthcare did not start after introducing PharmD. It has been there since many decades, even before anybody thought of PharmD. So now my simple question is, should hospital invite us to come and join them, or should we put efforts from our side to convince hospital and tell them how our involvement in the care improves the outcomes? So whose responsibility is it? Is it our responsibility to create a place for ourselves in hospital, or is it hospital's responsibility to invite us and make part of their team? So whoever think it is our responsibility, type OUR in chat box. Whoever think it is hospital's responsibility, type hospital in chat box. So basically it is us who should make place for ourselves. Okay, everybody says it is our responsibility. Okay, I think, yeah, you can stop responding. So definitely it is not hospital's responsibility to consider us, because they have been providing healthcare for so many years. Okay, so now it is upon us to make a place for ourselves. Okay, so all of you agreed with that. How to make that place for ourselves? Let's say you go to an hospital, and you should be able to clearly tell them that this is what we are trained to do, this is the area we have expertise, and once we do that, this is how it is going to help your hospital. So we should go and clearly present. So again, here again there are two questions: what are we trying to do in hospital, and what is the hospital's expectation? Okay, so which one is more important? For example, you want to go and do something in hospital, let's say provide core clinical pharmacy services. This is your intention, but let's say hospital does not have that intention. So will they hire you? So my question is, when you are going and presenting there, your first priority should be what? Trying to fulfill what you want to do, or trying to fulfill what hospital expectations are? So type again in chat box. So you should fulfill hospital expectation, right? Because first and foremost, the important thing is to get into that setting, get into that team. And for that, it is best to understand what they need, provide that first. And once you provide that first, then we can think of adding more and more layers to it. So whatever I'm talking, does it make sense? So ultimately, let's say you want to do 10 things, but hospital expects you to do only 3 things. So your priority should not be pushed for all 10 things which you want to do. You should just limit yourself to providing those three things which hospital really needs from you. And once you do those three things thoroughly, then you can influence them to add more things. Okay. So now, okay, now what is hospital looking for? So is it looking for you to come and provide core clinical pharmacy services, or is it looking to fulfill certain basic criteria which will help a hospital to perform better? So what do you think? So basically, ultimately, they are not looking for all of us to come and provide core clinical pharmacy service and pharmaceutical care, because that might not really help hospital in any way. But if we provide something which hospital really needs, okay, then it will be easy, right? And one such need is having that NABH accreditation. Okay, why? Because I will share your screen and show you a few things. So can you see my screen? So can you see? Hello.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So basically, I am showing a insurance regulatory and development authority of India notification. So I don't know whether this is implemented or not, but according to this notification, in any hospital, if patient has to avail cashless service for allopathic treatment, such hospital should have at least pre-accreditation entry-level standards laid down by NABH. So did you understand what this notification means? So it means, let's say you are admitted in a hospital and you are taking treatment, but you want to avail cashless treatment. Okay. So if insurance authority has to approve your that cashless service, then insurance regulatory authority is suggesting that such hospital should have at least pre-accreditation entry level criteria laid down by NABH. Did you understand or not? So if hospital does not have that accreditation, then that hospital will not be fit to provide cashless service. So a hospital will definitely lose all these patients who are dependent on insurance, yes or no? So do you think hospital want to lose that? Did you understand or no? So I'm not seeing the chat box. So you got the point.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that is why definitely hospital will not look to miss this cashless patients. And to avail that cashless patient kind of service, they need this accreditation. Means I don't know how far this is implemented, but it is just a matter of time. Because let's say each and every hospital provides cashless service. Sometimes fraud can happen. Yes or no? But if that hospital has NABH accreditation, at least they will have a confidence that such kind of frauds don't happen. Okay, I hope that this rule is implemented as soon as possible so that hospitals will be definitely looking to go for at least the entry level kind of an accreditation. Okay, and I am sure this is just a matter of time, because as time passes, people will look for more and more efficiency, safety, other aspects, and then having the standards will become mandatory. Initially they might say they need only entry level accreditation, pre accreditation, but later they might ask every hospital to go for full-fledged accreditation. So can you see my other screen where I'm showing NABH website?
Yes, sir.
So basically here they have listed out all the hospitals which have NABH accreditation. So first, if you see BM Birla Heart Research Center, it is in West Bengal. So they have accreditation up to 2025. Okay. So in that way, if you go and see this website, you will find list of all the hospitals which have NABH. Okay. So basically, if you are really looking to work as a clinical pharmacist, it is better to approach these hospitals, because at least according to regulation, to have an NABH accreditation, though it is not mandatory to have a clinical pharmacist, it is desirable. Means based on the last time when I read into those guidelines, hospital, if it wants to take an NABH accreditation, one of the criteria, desirable criteria, is to have a clinical pharmacist. Now it is not mandatory. Later they might make mandatory. So according to my basic understanding, I think for JCA accreditation, you will definitely need a clinical pharmacist. There it is not desirable, it is mandatory. Means if hospital does not have a clinical pharmacist working full time, it is not possible for them to get JCA accreditation. But NABH, last time when I read, it was saying it is desirable to have, and soon it might become mandatory. Okay, so this is the list of all hospitals have NABH accreditation. So at least they will be aware of management of medication, hospital interest, infection control, and other aspects, which are the core expertise of a clinical pharmacist. Okay. So again, off record actually, so you can see, I think this list is very big list. So what I would suggest is randomly, if you see this hospital, so this accreditation is valid only until 15th March 2022. So later they have you to renew. So you can make a list of hospitals which is looking to whose accreditation period is over and who might be looking to renew that accreditation. If you identify such hospitals and go there, it might be little easy for you to convince them to hire you. Okay. So did you understand what I wanted to say? So basically, this is the basic expectation of a hospital. If they really want to go for that accreditation, which is like a ranking, because all of you are studying in a college, there will be an inspection based on the results of that inspection. They will give the rank, and because of that rank, the admissions in colleges might go up. In the same way, if there is a hospital with NABH accreditation and some other hospital without it, patient will feel more confident to go for a hospital which is accredited by NABH. It is like a certificate for hospital saying that they maintain certain quality, safety, and other aspects. So it gives confidence for patients to go to such hospitals and avail care. You understand? You can respond in chat box. So in the same way, the other higher standard is JCA, and we have very few hospitals accredited by JCA. Most of them go for NABH. But in JCA, it is a completely different story. There, having a clinical pharmacist is mandatory. So even if hospital does not want to hire you, because it needs JCA accreditation, it will hire people. Okay. For example, there are like 2 or 3 hospitals in Hyderabad which has JCA, and in one of the hospital they have 20-member full-time clinical pharmacist working. Okay. I don't want to take the name, but that hospital has 20 full-time clinical pharmacists working as part of their team, because maybe they are interested in clinical pharmacy services. At the same time, they are doing this to fulfill the JCI criteria. Okay. So for that, when I was talking to Zuzair, so we felt that anyways in our curriculum there is nothing related to NABH. Okay. So according to me, that should be the minimum criteria which every pharmacist should learn, so that when he goes to hospital and approaches, then we can clearly say that my involvement can help you in these aspects of NABH accreditation. But that are not taught, and all the clinical pharmacists who are currently working, they have learned it after joining that hospital and undergoing those inspections. But luckily you don't have to take that difficult route. So there are few clinical pharmacists who has learned them in hard way. Now they want to make it little easy for you, and that is why Zuzair has come up with this idea, and I felt, okay, let us do a short course introducing you to 2 standards. There are, I think, 8 or 9 standards. So we'll be not talking about all those 8 or 9. We will be talking about 2 most important standards, which is the core domain of clinical pharmacies. That is medication order management and hospital infection control. So these 2 things Zuzair will do. And as he was saying, like he joined one hospital, faced inspections, got appreciation from NABH inspector, and then even the hospital was impressed. So they wanted him to go to other branch and help that other branch in innovation inspection process. So basically he's thorough with all those aspects, and we are going to do this. So basically people who are watching on YouTube, in the video description, first of all, thanks for joining. And other thing is, in the video description, we have given you the registration link. You can register using that link and join this course. So we are doing it on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th September, 3 consecutive days. Timing is evening 7 to 9. So it is 2 hours every day. Total, it is a 6-hour course. And then we can think of adding more components to it. But right now, at this stage, I think it is a decent start for you to get a thorough understanding of 2 important components of NABH standards. So that's all I had. So, okay, so far I talked about the course part. And then coming to Zuzair, one of the most sincere students. So before COVID, when we were doing some courses, we were doing everything in person. So we were doing a course in Kukatpalli. So we used to travel all the way, and we had classes, I think, morning 7 o'clock to 9 or around 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I don't exactly remember the time. So he used to come learn. And what I remember is he implemented everything which he has learned. Okay. Because everybody can listen to all those sessions. Everybody who joins the course listens to all those sessions. But very few take that little extra effort and try to implement. So basically, whatever we thought, every little thing he implemented in his practice. And then he used to share those interventions which he identified, which I still remember. One of them was using the correct diluting fluid for amphotericin B. So many times they do it right, sometimes they do it wrong. Amphotericin B is incompatible with NS, so you should not be using NS. So he identified a case where they were using a wrong diluting fluid to dilute that medication. And if you give, because it is incompatible, it does not work. It is loss of money, time, it can lead to poor outcomes. So then one simple concept which I thought was calculating the BMI. Okay. So many people dismiss it as simple. What is their BMI? Everybody knows. In fact, he actually did one study. Okay. So I think for a few days he collected BMIs of all the patients coming to his hospital and then categorized them. How many are pre-obese? How many are normal weight? How many are obese? How many are class 1, class 2, class 3 obesity? So you don't have to do great things. If you do simple things which you have learned, implement in practice, you can make a huge difference. So these are 2 or 3 examples on how he stood out from rest of the students who were in contact with us. I mean, again, I'm not disrespecting other students, but he has grasped. Everybody has grasped that, I'm sure, but very few of them implemented and showed that value. And sometime back, he was telling he gave a presentation to his students and faculty at college and was appreciated. So I was really happy that he did not keep that knowledge with himself, but he took effort to share it with all other people. And let's say they pick up just 1 or 2 things out of that presentation, and tomorrow they come across a case where those 2 or 3 things can be implemented. That is making difference to 2 people directly, and 2 people, it's nothing but 2 families. Okay. So we stayed in touch. And other quality I like is the kind of gratitude he has. I have never seen this in anybody. So that is another important quality. Whenever he calls, I'll directly say, okay. Then first he'll say, sir, are you available? Is it the right time to speak? And even little opportunities we give, he shows lot of gratitude, because sometimes it is difficult to get opportunities, maybe for that reason. And he deserves those opportunities. We are not simply giving it to him. Though he deserves it, still he expresses that gratitude, which is a great quality which will take him to places. So having him as an instructor for course is good. You will learn both professional aspects and also certain personal aspects which will help you to grow quickly. So I think with this, I will stop here. So just reminding again, we shared that registration link in the YouTube description. We will be posting it on LinkedIn and Instagram also. Or you can directly reach out to me if you wish to register. So we will meet again on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of September. So this session we are streaming on YouTube. So if you have missed attending some parts of it, or if you want to share it with your other contacts who want to know about this course and join, they can access this video on our YouTube channel. So Zuzair, I think if students have any questions, you can take, and maybe you can close by 9. Me and Dr. Dar will leave in 5 minutes.
Yes, I would love
If you can continue.
So,
and also
so
you can-
before Juzair,
last
before
thing.
Juzair, you start. Just a quick thing. I want to echo what Dr. Karthik mentioned. So there are a lot of people who get to know a lot of things, but there are very few people like Juzair who want to take it and share it. So I think for all of us here, one thing to learn from Juzair is a young person starting in his professional world, and he's going to do great things. What I want to emphasize is one thing to learn is that when you see something, say something. Like he went to and got exposed that people know about a clinical pharmacist. There's an opportunity to know about NABH. And he raised his hand and came to us and said, I want to have a way to share this with others. And here we are. We said yes. And I want to kind of extend that to all of you, that you have ideas or you want some more information about something. That's what Avenida is for. We want to be the catalyst and the bridge between where you are and where you want to head. And Juzair is just one of those people to take you across the bridge. Juzair, once again, thank you. I really appreciate you suggesting that we should be doing